Father, as we gather here tonight, we ask for your guidance that we might make decisions that benefit the entire community. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock, straight up and down. Roll call.
Mayor Hicks,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintana,
Here.
Councilor Sandoval,
Here.
Councilor Dickens,
Here.
Councilor Lewis.
Here. Join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ahura. Council have a chance to review the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Second.
Second.
Councilor Quintana.
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval.
Yes.
Councilor Dickens.
Yes.
Councilor Lewis. We don't have no employees to recognize this time, do we? Citizens to address the council, James Torres.
Yes, sir. Mayor, for those of you that don't know me, I'm James Torres. I've made myself real familiar with Mrs. Jaramillo. I wish you good luck on your new job. I've spoken with Mayor Hicks, and I've spoken with my council, Mr. Sandoval. I want to thank Mr. Sandoval for giving me the opportunity to represent some of the citizens of this area as a member of the board, or whatever you call it, to hire the new police chief. And I take it very serious, and I'm looking forward for this council and the new police chief and the mayor, so that we can take back control and of the police department, and hopefully we can reestablish an environment that this community can all work together and get along. And I thank you, Mr. Sandoval, for recommending me to Mrs. Jaramillo, and promise you I take it very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Castañeda?
Good evening, council, city manager. I just wanted to mention, we've had a lot of incidences on Houston and Del Norte. And I know in the past meetings, you guys have mentioned something about putting some dumpsters out there and kind of cleaning up that area also. But the lighting is very dark. There's no lighting on Houston Street, that block. I believe it's the 1100 block, where it intersects with Del Norte. I don't know that I had to go to Continental Divide to request that, but I don't know if it was also part of the city. But I
Marty's
did.
sitting there taking notes, right? We got you, John.
Okay, appreciate that.
We got you on that one.
I think we need a citywide assessment on
Streetlights.
streetlights.
I don't know if Mr. Torres is interested in that too, but I've been making some drives down his street, Marcus Street. It's also pretty dark down in that area.
You know, I've noticed one thing is that it seems where we're having the break-ins is where we don't have any lighting.
Yeah, some of that area is really dark.
That's what it seems to look like to me. It seems like you turn the lights on and these are like cockroaches, they go away.
Right.
So, yeah, Marty,
I appreciate that.
even if we gotta come in at night and take a ride, me and you would cruise around, whatever, me and Paul, give Paul something to do too.
You got it?
Smile, Paul.
Thank you, gentlemen, ladies.
Thank you.
Mr. Paul Sandoval, our vector control man. Are you gonna talk to us tonight? You gonna inform the public what we're doing?
Yes,
You go, baby.
will I address you from here?
Right there if you want, that's
Okay.
fine.
The vector program is in full swing. Matter of fact, we're on overload at this particular time, not only here but throughout the state, from Cruces all the way up to Colfax County. Same problems, same issues. This is not the first council or commission I've been before the last couple of weeks. Everybody's wanting to know what's happening. The water has, first of all, this city, we just started this year, as you know, the turf operations, and we've got the authority to go on some of the private land and start getting that water taken care of. But when I surveyed it last year, Marty and I went out, it looked pretty good. This year, it's about 4 or 5 times the size, surface water, than I had last year. So it's gotten huge. And it's just right, it's about 1 inch deep, with a lot of grass growing in it. And some of the issues we're having is even on the quad, we can't even get close enough. Our machine will throw 30 feet of our chemical. We can't even get out there right now, even from the edge, we just sink. So I've mentioned to the mayor and to the city manager that this program, we end officially September 30th, but we'll be working through the winter months, probably through November and December, and we'll probably start up again in March. Now, the contract doesn't start until June, I believe. Well, it starts in mid-May. But we've got to start earlier because I want to try and get the ground when it's frozen and do a lot of pre-application work. You know, we started this mid-season, which is okay, but we need a lot of pre-application work to get frozen ground that we can't get to on its now, or we can't get to now because we'll sink. So we're working it, and it's doing well. The turf application apparently is working well, from what I understand. Fire and ice went over. I didn't get any complaints. I've asked a couple people, they said it wasn't bad as far as mosquito load. And so that was my first test to see what would happen on that particular grass area. So that seems like it's working. The fields are beginning to work as well, and the coaches seem to be happy when they see us out there. What else? The turf, water, the fogging. Again, the fogging hasn't changed any. We've increased the fogging a little bit in the past couple of weeks. We've taken it closer in days. Well, weather plays against us, but we've taken the fogging closer just because the mosquito population is so bad. Even treating the water, we're getting attacked on the quad, bad. So I can tell you, it's bad, and it's going to be bad for a while. This rain isn't helping, and we're attacking as much as we can, but we're kind of behind the ball a little bit. So the other thing that's important, I guess, has been addressed. A lot of citizens either try and get a hold of me, which I'd like to speak from if I can. They expect us to drive down the road, be in front of their house. And we don't go down every single road or alleyway. It was done years ago. I was actually trained that way whenever I started, but things have changed. So now we use wind and humidity and the temps as to how we're going to fog and where we're going to let the fog blow through. So some people we can blow from the other side of the street onto 2 or 3 streets and get drift, which works really nice. It's getting better. A lot of education is what it's going to take. And hopefully by next year, I think if we get this water taken care of between now and the winter months, next year, spring, next time, this time, we should be in much better condition than what we are now. Questions?
Do you
I have a
put
comment.
anything in the water itself? Like I know in the old days, they used to put the little
Pellets.
mosquito eating little fish that would eat the mosquitoes. Do you do anything like that, or pellets like Michael says?
We're working with, we have products that we use called larvicides, exactly what you're speaking of. That's what we're doing in a lot of these standing waters. Out behind Sage, there's a 1/4 acre to a 1/2 acre of just water that's that deep. That's part of the water we can't get into, but all my calls are coming directly from Sage, up Alamo Road, all those people all calling in. I think I know all those folks now, which is good.
I was a swampland when I was a little boy. It's still a swampland.
Really? Yeah, okay. So see, it's bad. It's bad. And that's where we're getting some control on now. That's going to give those people a lot of relief. We've done a lot of fogging out there, but we are doing that. We are applying things to the water. What we don't apply to is the river area. Anything that's flowing, we don't apply to that. Rules have changed on that type of work.
So just the stagnant
That's
areas.
just the standing water that we can get to.
I live right next to the Riverwalk, and I haven't really noticed it being that bad this year.
Right. On the Riverwalk, speaking with Paul Pena, when we started this, we're treating the turf in there also. And we're treating about the out 18 to 30 inches all the way around that area, trying to get that knocked down. It's just hard because the water's there, it runs through, and then of course the pond itself, and the mosquitoes want to hang out there hoping to lay eggs. So if we can get the grass knocked down, that's going to help. It's very hard to treat. We can't fog around it, so all we can do is treat the turf around it as close as we can. But I'm glad to hear it's not as bad there.
Haven't really had that much problem.
Complaints on my phone have gone way down, Paul, nice,
Good.
way down.
Glad to hear that, thanks.
But, anything else?
Yeah, I have a comment. If you could, I'd like to see, well, first of all, I want to bring up the football fields. And it's probably our fields in general. We're starting Yaffle football right now,
Yes.
and also for the high school. But I'd like to see a little bit more concentration. I don't know what the specs are on maybe getting out there additional to what you're doing, but right now, I'm a coach for the league, and I've been practicing a couple of days already, and I noticed that there's a lot of mosquitoes. And there's another issue that I will address with OMI on something that I've noticed. But if you could please help us out with that. Wells Park is a big one. Mesa Park, where all these teams practice, and they're young kids, eight on up, and they don't need to be fighting off the mosquitoes. Also, I've had some complaints about the high school area. They practice on South Campus. I'm sure you're hitting that, but if you guys can do it additional, just for right now, so we can get this under control for the kids while they practice. Okay, and we normally practice in the late afternoons kind of thing, so that's when the mosquitoes are really out and about.
Okay.
Another thing is that I've noticed in some of the areas back by Jackson, I don't know where you live, Eddie, and Roosevelt, there's some standing water areas that there's a big major drainage through there, and it actually runs the backside of Roberta's place, that strip mall that's right there, that whole backside, there's a big drainage right there, and there's a big puddle of standing water. It's not even a puddle, it's a big area of standing water.
Okay.
So the water flow goes through there, and it's full of water right now.
Just sits, okay.
Just sits there, and it won't go away probably for about 2 weeks or so if we don't get any more moisture. Another place that I've noticed is there again at Wells Park on the backside by the women's softball field. There's a big stretch of water that's not going anywhere. It's just standing there, and that's the parking area.
Okay.
So that could be breeding grounds for the mosquitoes. If you guys could do me a favor and take a look at that,
Sure.
I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're working the turf, we can treat those areas.
Thank you.
Are you also taking care of Milan and the county?
Yes.
How does that compare to grants and complaint?
Their complaints are way down, way down. You guys, I do a lot of places in the state, you guys are the only place that's like this. You have so much water within the housing area. I'm telling you, I haven't seen it. That's why I recommended the turf treatment to help control this, because the fogging just wasn't going to do it. And the water treatment we were doing was not enough because we weren't doing the private land. And I felt that was exactly what you're saying. The area was a swamp area behind Sage. We never treated that. It wasn't one because of the rules and regs. Now we've fixed all that. So Grants is very unique. I mean, it has a lot of water standing
So
and a lot of grass.
treating in the winter might change next year.
Yes, it's going to help us in the spring. It'll help us in the spring a lot by treating through the winter months. I treat, most of my counties are treated in the winter at least once or twice. We can get out there when the ground's frozen, put products out. A lot of these tire tracks off of, trying to think, out behind Sage, well, anywhere in there, you get in with the big trucks and go and play in the mud. And it's probably fun, but when those dry down to half an inch of water, I mean, we counted millions, and I'm not exaggerating, millions of mosquitoes over there.
So starting in March would be better starting in June.
No, June, the contract is fine. The contract will not change. We will just be doing work in March, and we'll be doing work probably in December. Yeah. It's not additional cost or anything to the contract. It's just how we have to work it to make it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to discuss our charter compliance?
I would like to know what we are in compliance of our charter.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to back up a little bit to when we were talking about the police department here. I'd like to point out to the police department that, as you guys know, you've taken it on the chin pretty bad the last few months. And but we as a city council do appreciate what you do. And we're glad you guys are all on board. We know that there's some training that needs to take place with our new officers that have come on board. But we want you to know that we're not abandoning you. We're glad you're on board, and we appreciate the police department very much.
Thank you.
Regular city council meetings, minutes. Give you a chance to review those. Are they good? Do they need to be corrected?
Can't see.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we accept the minutes as written.
Second. Second. Counselor Sandoval.
Yes.
Counselor Quintana.
Abstain, was not present.
Counselor Dickens.
Yes.
Counselor Lewis.
Yes.
City manager update. Go for it, Laura.
I asked the police department to be here tonight to give a report. Are one of you guys prepared to do that? No? Yes, no? No?
My understanding is the acting chief was gonna be here, but I guess he's not here. I can go off the top of my head if you'd like.
Okay, just give us a brief.
Okay.
What's going on?
Basically, I don't know if anybody's known or if we went over this, but we have 3 new officers that have been hired. They're still riding along. We did lose 1 officer, I believe, to another agency. That was Sean Vigil. So unfortunately, we did lose 1, but it wasn't like 2 steps forward and 4 back. So we're still doing okay, and hopefully we can fill that position. I did conduct a neighborhood watch meeting, I believe last Friday, and we had about maybe a dozen people show up. And even if we get 1, that's excellent. And my plan is to continue to do that once a month and to kind of change some things around at the police department where the areas are being divided up and the officers are going to be assigned to those areas for community policing so that we can start getting all that back together. We do have a bike patrol going on, and that's definitely hitting in the evenings and at night. It is a little dangerous for the officers, but it's very stealthy, and I believe it's definitely an asset to the department to do that. So hopefully we can get this burglaries down and get them controlled and move forward, but we're definitely progressing forward. I can't think of really anything else though.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about computers? What are you written computers?
We definitely need an IT guy. It's getting to the point where I'm not understanding a lot of the stuff that they're asking for.
Wasn't that Martin Hills?
Yes, and I don't know where that contract stands after the new fiscal year. My understanding, just by what I've been told, has ended, and it needs to be renewed or something to that effect, so I don't know.
He was the one that's supposed to have a knowledge.
Does that include the new car computers?
That is, yes, sir. That's exactly what
And
it
that
is.
one is where you're saying you need an IT person? I
Yeah.
thought the company was supposed to come in and help out on that.
I've submitted all of the quotes for the company, and they will come in and they will program the computers that go into the cars themselves. But when you're talking about getting IP addresses and static IP addresses, that's a little over my...
I know they're gonna program it, but are they gonna offer any training to the officers?
Yes, that's all included, yeah, so that's all included. But as far as getting that, the other thing is we're going through CenturyLink, and when I called them, I'm not an authorized person to discuss the account. So there's a few things that are in the mix that we might need to sit down and figure out how we're gonna do that.
So is there only certain ones in your group that are authorized to get in there? Or?
It's actually your group.
That's right, it's our group up here, it's not his group.
No,
It's
yeah.
Laura, it's Anna, it's Paul.
And actually, we need to update those names
Yes,
because
we do.
they named a name that was, they told me.
Been gone for,
Yes.
yes, we need to take care of that, Laura, you got that on your notes
I
too?
do.
Yeah, they mentioned a name I never even knew of. So.
Did you never even do work here?
I'm sorry, sir?
You never even do work here?
Yes, exactly. In the
Well, you
16
know, we
years
are-
that I've been here.
And that's something that the public needs to understand is the policies and procedures of the city haven't been updated in so long. And we are working on that, okay? Laura, Paul, along with the attorneys, I mean, it's just gonna take us a while, guys, and in my vision is, 2 years down the road, we'll have our policies and procedures squared away with everything. It's just, it's sad it takes so long, but it's been so long since anything's been done. We're so far behind the 8 ball. But I will promise the public that within 2 years, we will have a new set of policies and procedures, and we'll be moving this city forward.
Very nice.
But for the record, it's been 2.5 years already since we started this computer.
That is correct, yeah.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
That's
And we've moved a long way. We're connected with Santa Fe DPS already. We have the computers here, we have the programs. It's just these last few things, and it looks like I said, it's some of the IT stuff I don't understand, and I gotta get authorization to talk to them, things like that, so.
Well, that's where Marty was supposed to come in.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Before Mr. Reader, or whoever it is from the college.
Yeah,
This has been going on and on and on.
right.
And whoever's dragging their feet, let's find out who it is and
And forward, we got to use computers actually 2 years ago.
Yes, we did.
Probably
outdated.
Actually, for our programs, they'll be good, but yeah, you're right.
But still,
Technology
couple of
moves
years,
quick.
they're
Yes.
outdated.
Yeah, you're absolutely
All right,
right.
John?
Yes,
You
sir.
know what, on the positive side of things, I'd just like for you to pass on to the rest of your fellow officers
Yes, sir.
that I have seen an increase of patrolling in the neighborhood area, especially in mine. I mean, it's not just especially in mine, but I've seen that in mine, and that helps. That helps with burglaries, that kind of thing. You know, those people just stay away from that area, you know,
Right.
when we've got the officers' presence. So if you don't mind, pass that on to them and tell them to keep doing that. I mean, that's a big help to everything in our community.
I appreciate that, and I'll definitely pass it on.
So you get some positive suggestions from your group when you met with them?
At the Neighborhood Watch?
Yeah.
Yes, they've enlightened us with a few of the problems that they felt the police department wasn't helping with. And I told them that basically we're going back to policing 101. And it's all about getting on scene, taking photographs, latents if possible, getting statements, getting leads, things of that nature. So I wanted to go back to where it was when I started 13 years ago, where we had these areas and we would get out of the cars and knock on doors and talk with people, and they would be able to say, well, you know what, somebody's house or 616 whatever got hit last night, and the officer knows automatically whose that house is because he's been there, he's talked to those people, and getting back in with our community and going back to the basics. Going back to the basics, getting back in contact with them and telling them where their case is and what's going on, and if additional charges can be added, whatever the case may be. So,
Thank you, John.
John,
yes.
also, just be aware and make your other officers aware that on Saturday night for the next 2 weeks and for the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've had an event at the amphitheater.
Yes.
And there were probably 200 people there on Saturday night, this last Saturday night. And we didn't have any trouble, but people were having a party.
Abundance of
And we had a couple of the streetwalkers there, looked like they had been drinking, they didn't cause any trouble. But it'd be nice to just have an officer go by there a few times or even stop and enjoy the music while we're there, because those crowds are getting pretty big.
excellent, we can do
I
that.
think the concert that was presented this weekend had a lot to do with the number going way up, because that guy's awesome. Okay, I mean, I think that had a lot, because this is the biggest one, right? Was the one we had this
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah, I think that performer that we had there had a lot to do with it.
Each week it's gotten bigger.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Just a real quick note, what I did is I generated a list of all the officers' extensions and divided up the areas and gave them to the public, so they know exactly who to call and give the message to that particular officer for that particular area, so that they can be in contact with that area in their community.
Go ahead, Laura.
Okay,
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
On my list, number 2, we have our police chief interview scheduled for tomorrow. We have a panel of community members that will be looking at 5 candidates. And I've been making my rounds to the various departments, trying to become familiar with staff and existing projects. I've scheduled coffee with the city manager that will be the first Thursday at City Hall at 7 a.m. And then the third Thursday at 5 p.m. at the farmer's market, and when that closes down, we'll move it inside. But I want to make sure we're available for the public to come and provide suggestions, any concerns, things that they would like us to address. We met with the Navajo Nation, a couple of us in Crown Point, regarding our Navajo transients that are here and going through our municipal court at times. And they're wanting to come up with an agreement so that they can bring those people back home to Crown Point and provide services. I attended the animal board meeting. I had a meeting with Mace Management to become familiar with their staff. I met with Mr. Radosevich, who's doing our police audit, and he is completing that and should have some information to us soon. I attended the Lodgers Tax Board meeting, and I met today with the Council of Government, with Evan, and we talked about them helping us update our policies and procedures, our job descriptions, and I indicated we wanted to look for money for the library and the broadband. So they're going to start working with us on that.
Any questions for the manager? Okay, the next one is employee hours, that one's mine. We changed property maintenance to 8 to 4:30. They're gonna take a 30-minute lunch like everybody else. We changed the mechanic shop, 8 to 4:30. They're gonna take a 30-minute lunch like everybody else.
What was that old schedule, Louis?
They were working 7 to 3, 6 to 2. It seemed like they were working whenever they wanted to. No more.
Who's holding them accountable?
Now Paul is.
Okay.
Okay? And it's just, it was my point to bring these people online with the rest of the departments, because if something breaks after 3 o'clock, there's no property maintenance to fix it. If a car goes down after 3 o'clock, and the cops gotta have the cars, guys, and they're gone. There's nobody there to help them. So we changed those hours, okay? And I just did that because I can. Something else we're looking at for the PD. We're looking at 8-hour shifts for you guys. Okay, and going over things, I had Tammy look at the budgets in the past, and what it looked at, when we run 8-hour shifts, the overtime was down. And we were never at a full complement of officers either, okay? But the overtime was in check. Now we're on 12-hour shifts with a full complement of officers.
Killing us.
And the overtime's killing us, okay? And the cops aren't showing up for court and stuff, and what it is they're burned. I work 12-hour shifts, I know what it is, it sucks, guys. And we're gonna fix that.
I've thrown the 8 hours around, I've tried
But
to.
believe me, that's something we're gonna hit with this new chief tomorrow, okay?
I'm trying to figure out the manpower to that 8-hour shift.
Yes,
So-
and we've got to. Go ahead, James, you got something to say it, please.
Yeah, since Ms. Jaramillo brought it up, I've been trying to gather some information so that I can make an intelligent selection of police officers. In my opinion, the audit that Mr. Radosevich is using, I think the city council wanted that in place so that we could see where our department is at. And I think that is a very important tool that we should use in the process to hire the police chief. We need to know if the police chief is going to be able to handle the findings of that audit. We need to be able to know if he's capable of performing what is needed on that audit. And it would be a very helpful tool once the council approves it or makes it public. I would like to have that. Also, on Mr. Castañeda's neighborhood watch. I went to that neighborhood watch. I asked questions. I've been communicating with all these officers. I know they're under stress. I've heard words such as burnout, stress out, undermanned, and all this. And I asked him, he put out this list right here. There's 13 officers. I asked him, out of those 13 officers, how many are at the academy? How many are on extended leave for one reason or the other? The number I got when I asked him how many actual officers are on there, I was very disappointed. The number is 8. So these people right here, they need help, and they need help now.
And we're working on it. Yes, Karen? Come on up, identify yourself and speak.
Karen Cook, There are 17 sworn officers. We just lost Marty Vigil, so that gives us, I'm sorry, there's 16 officers, 3 that are uncertified, 1 that is on light duty. Everybody's back from the academy. No one's going to the academy until the next one, which is probably in June. So the 3 that we have that are uncertified probably will hit the academy then.
Not Sean.
Did I say Sean?
You said Marty.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sharp. But that's where we stand right now. We're not quite up to staff, but we're pretty close, and I think they'd probably like to keep that 1 still down, just for the overtime.
So we can use the same amount of officers, just change the hours and
As soon as-
8-hour shifts.
As soon as we
8-hour
get
shifts
those
to
3
cut that
certified, we will be up to staff. And your
Cut them 12
overtime
shifts.
hours should go down. And that was another part of the audit, was that they're looking at different scheduling for that, to lower the overtime. And just, I think the audit is very positive tool. And I think that we can learn a lot from it.
What's your opinion of going to 8-hour shifts?
I'm on an 8-hour shift.
I know, but I mean for the officers.
They won't like it,
They won't?
because they get every other weekend off, 3-day weekends, so they're not gonna like it as much, but,
Yeah, but we're failing our community by doing
they're
that.
police officers, and we're supposed to be here to serve.
Thank you,
And to
John.
come
Thank
up
you.
to date with you, Mayor, I rearranged the girls. We are there we're open during lunch.
Thank you.
Because we also, as civilians, forget we're here to serve too.
Thank you
So
very much,
we
guys.
adjusted our lunch hours for that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
That covers the employees' hours. Vector control, Paul already covered that, so we'll skip that one. Recreation board update, is there somebody here from the recreation board? Manny?
Yes, sir.
You got the recreation hat for today?
Is that the baseball, they have it?
Oh, they have it, okay.
Yeah, we got the baseball league
You got the
stuff.
baseball league?
Yeah.
Their
It's in our package.
councilman, mayor, city manager, thank you for having me here. I want you to let you know that CCABC has come a long ways from the old days, where all they had was a bunch of boxes with bills in there and receipts. It's no longer there anymore, you can see that. You guys have a copy of all this?
Yes.
You can see where the accountability is coming from now. And I know that you guys are only interested in one thing, to see the bottom line.
Without any red.
There is no red. CCABC has been operating in the red for years. The Recreation Board has taken control of it with a good board with Mr. Lamar Galindo. Lamar, can you come up here? Mr. Galindo has taken it over as president as of this year. Last year they had a lot of problems. The problem is no longer lives in town, and we're moving in a great direction. They have asked for our help on setting up all our their bookkeeping spreadsheets and everything, and they've done an excellent job. Every complaint that was addressed was handled by their board. Actually, never came up to our board, and that's the way it should be. Chain of command. And the other thing we implemented, the Recreation Board did, is if they had a complaint, they had to give it to the City of Grants at the Recreation, and it had to be in writing and signed. If it wasn't signed, we just threw it out. There was nothing there. Unless they have something in writing, we are not going to do anything about it, because we hear complaints like that all the time. So I want to thank Ramon and his board for doing an excellent job. And the finances are there. They're in the black, and it hasn't been done in years.
And Manny, I want to thank you and your board for doing an excellent job.
Thank
For
you.
that recreation board, we really
So,
appreciate it.
Ramon, you're telling me you started off the season with $750.25, and right now you have a balance of $5,963.26?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That was our ending balance.
I think that's awesome, because it seems like every year, year after year, the years that I was involved with the league, it was like we were starting off from the beginning and we couldn't provide
We
anything
started
for
off
the
with
kids.
the hole, bro. We were starting off with the hole.
And I'm just saying on a positive side of things, we were actually starting off where we couldn't provide nothing for the kids at that point. So I think that's great.
When you're Ramon and McDougal wrote a check to bail out the league, remember that?
Yeah, but they were on the red, and for us to start a league, I was a coach back then. We were on the red, $1,500. We had to pay Travis, and if we didn't pay that amount, and actually Mr. McDougal and I paid that account so we could have baseball for the kids that year. The league did pay us back, but
You know,
we had
and with a balance like this, I sure would like to see something go back to the kids.
yeah. And actually,
You know, just something.
Actually, this year, we gave something to every kid. I mean, at closing ceremonies, everybody got something. We gave each team a pizza party where I don't remember I've been involved maybe 20 years, and we have never had a...
That's nice.
And for every kid, I mean, the championship team would get something, but this year, actually, every kid that finished the season got something. And like I said, a pizza party for each team. And it was a great season. I actually, at the beginning of the season, our treasurer that had been voted in, I put her in another position, and I appointed another treasurer that she did a great job, and that's Nakomi Valdez. She did a great job. I mean, we had the book there because they're always asking for the, and this year we didn't even get asked for the book, and we always had it there at the concession stand.
Well, thank you.
I want to congratulate you guys on your season. This is the best accounting I've ever seen. I mean, dollar for dollar, you guys accounted for everything.
Yeah, it's
You did an excellent job, and I heard great comments throughout the season, and you guys did very well.
Donald, I hope you're getting this, because I think it's important that the public knows about this. Year after year, all it's been is negative about the league, and now I think this is a positive thing in
Maybe
everybody.
people fleeing the county because they were stealing the money from the kids.
And last year, I actually had resigned. I was the vice president last year. Actually, I took over because the acting president wasn't here. And at the end of the season, I was so frustrated because there were so many complaints. I mean, crazy complaints that, and actually this year, we didn't know if we were going to have a league because the city was really disappointed of what happened last year. And the only reason I stayed, because they nominated me for president, and I didn't want to take it, and to prove that it's not the community. I mean, it's some people that take advantage of it, but we show that working together with the city, the way Paul was the city manager, and he gave us another chance because he wasn't very happy with, and I could tell you that the city really helped us out. Michelle, Joe, and Paul was the city manager. Everything we would ask for, they would help us with. And I want to thank you.
Well, thank you to you and your officers. Pass that on, please. I think that was very important for an outstanding job for the year. I'm sure the kids really appreciated everything that you did for them.
And
Manuel and your board also.
Yeah, they were backing. Every question I had or anything, I would call Manuel or I would call Norma, and they were right there.
And I'm glad to see you brought in young girls softball league.
Yeah, actually, we had 23 high school between girls and boys for umps. We only had 2 games that we needed 1 ump, and that's because the ump didn't get the message or anything, but that was always we never had umps. I remember Modi, when he was a counselor, we were always coming. We would never have umps. This year, we have 25 people on board.
Call games, remember?
On board, and actually paying them good money and everything. You could see what they made on the umps.
No, you've done an outstanding job.
It was a great season. I'm glad that I actually stayed for this season because I was so frustrated that I was done with baseball. Because I couldn't even see my son play because I would have a line waiting for me to ask complaints. Like my kid didn't play or something stupid,
We appreciate what you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fire and Ice, Manny, don't go nowhere. Come on up, Mr. Jackson, Bianca, let's hear what we got.
Councilman, Mayor, and Laura, good evening, and we want to report on Fire and Ice. I had one major issue that I've heard. I wanted to know how much money the the city was gonna loan us to bail us out. Well, Michael, we don't need any money, Michael. We got plenty of money in there.
Good.
That-
I still have some concerns.
Well, you do.
I'm gonna
now.
let you finish.
Yes, sir. We didn't have a bike rally as big as we wanted. We know it was smaller. There was a lot of obstacles we had to overcome. We spent a lot of lodging tax money on overcoming those problems, but we did. We addressed it. We finished it. And Paul, I had a conversation with Paul. How much we saved the city by not taking employees that usually volunteer to be paid for that weekend. I think we decided what, between $12,000 to $15,000 for the weekend?
Yeah, probably closer to 20.
20? So in that regard, we saved the city almost $20,000. So we took it upon ourselves and we overcame the obstacles. And being a first year on board, we did an excellent job. So at this time, I'd like to, Tom Jackson, give you the report on the financials.
Bianca's actually give you the report on the financials, and I don't have any questions. I can answer any questions for you too.
So you guys all have the handout in front of you. Our budget was set at $95,000, and in actual we came out $103,452, which came we came over budget $8,499. But due to that $8,000, we did use $10,000 from the contract that we had with the city through Grants Main Street, which we had asked for $20,000 more for the summer concert series as well as Fire and Ice. And that was toward using that $10,000 towards entertainment. So therefore that $8,000 that we did go over was covered under the Grants Main Street account. The $8,000 that we did go over is based off of the entertainment, the additional entertainment that we hired for the amphitheater as well as during the day at the Fire and Ice Park in the beer tent. Also advertising, we did more advertising this year than we have in the past, and so of course you see there's $6,000 of that we did go over in advertising. We did get approved for $60,000 for the Lodgers Tax Board. However, we were only given $49,000 of that thus far. Also, we had some supplies that we had to purchase throughout the event, such as the trash cans. We didn't have any trash cans given to us by the city, therefore Main Street had to go out and purchase our own trash cans and any other supplies that we needed for the upkeep of, having that event clean. The other thing that we didn't factor in to the budget originally at the beginning of the year was the prize money that was paid out. However, the sponsorship money that we did get in for those events, that prize money came out of there. So that's on the first page. As far as the second page goes, you see the total income that we brought in. The total income in sponsors and of course lodgers tax in the city of Grants came up to $84,000. Entry fees, as far as the bike raffle, the gate, and the Pope Crown Leisure Run, we brought in $12,410. As far as the vendor booths, we had 46 vendors total. 40 of the vendors did pay money, and that was with either a 20% discount or a 10% discount, and we brought in $17,578. And then, of course, we sold the bags of ice and the water, and we made a little under $1,500. The overall expenses, of course, again, was the $103,000. In actual, we did $115,579, which came to a total profit of $12,080.28. As you see in your packet there, we have some statistics as far as the website views, advertising that we did on there, the Facebook advertising, the likes, comments, and the shares information throughout the year from January till August, the middle of August, as well as the reach that we did in advertising on Comcast. And at the back, the last page there is a survey that we gave out to the attendees. We did receive only 455 surveys back. We don't have the information compiled just yet. We're working with the Economic Development Department and New Mexico State University to get an intern to come in and compile that information for us.
Questions?
Okay, should I start?
Go ahead, you start.
Okay, Now, just for the record, so I can clarify my comment was not to bail out Main Street because I will not support that. Okay, my comment was to see where we were at financially, to see exactly how we did. Now, as a city official walking around the bike rally on Friday, I was a little embarrassed, to be honest with you. The numbers were bad, the vending numbers were bad. I heard nothing but negative comments from our local people. There was probably more officers there than there were attendees. And it's getting to the point anymore where I think it's old. I think everybody needs something new into our town. I'm not saying do away with bike rally. I'm saying we need to implement something additional to it. I'd like to see something brought in, family oriented, not just on Sunday.
Right.
Anymore, this is not a bike rally town. We've got lots of families here that really want to participate in certain things. You know, we did away with the Oktoberfest back in the day. We did away with the 4th of July used to be last 4 or 2 days, 2 solid days. We had the Oktoberfest, we had the Cinco de Mayo. That was nice. I mean, that was really nice for our whole town to be a participate in all of that. Now, I don't want to seem so negative on the whole thing. I know that you guys took over and you guys did what you did. There was some flaws that I saw that we can fix. You know, I would like to see the numbers on the tent, to be honest with you, and there wasn't the participants that you guys needed in there. I don't know what happened. The advertising, I see that you guys spent some money out there getting the advertising done. Saturday, I don't know what happened. I wasn't here, so I can't say. But walking around the bike rally Friday, to be honest with you, I didn't see anybody from out of town. Everybody was from locally, and vendors complained to me. You know, just the t-shirt guy. I don't even know if he's coming back. Have you guys heard from him? I've heard that he's not coming back.
Well, that's up to our board, sir.
Yeah, and I know. I'm just bringing it up, and the reason is it's not your fault. It's just that the numbers that we brought into our bike rally, it didn't do as well.
No, we did not.
You know, so that being said, and what I'd like to see is a lot more free stuff, to be honest with you. I know it's hard to do that with the limited budget that you have. Look at the turnout you had Sunday. Wasn't that nice?
It was excellent.
I mean, that tent was full, and people enjoyed it. But the vendors were already so disgusted, they packed up and left. They were gone. I showed up at probably 5 o'clock, and it was like a ghost town right here. And the bike rally's supposed to last until what? The weather didn't help matters any. I saw that.
There was
6
o'clock.
Okay.
They were trying to beat the rain out.
Yeah, and they were, and I don't blame them. But, you know, the weather didn't cooperate with us on that day.
But you know, Michael, I really appreciate what you're saying. I think it's awesome because we need to hear what's out there. We need to know what we need to fix, and we have learned what we're going to fix and how it's going to be done. You're asking about other events that are coming out.
Why can't we implement a car show included with that? I don't know, you know, something.
I'd like to see some of our meetings and with these ideas so we can work on them.
I sure
Come in
can.
and express it and work with us and give us some ideas on that. I don't know if the bikes and the cars will mix.
Well,
That's
I'm just throwing that out there. I'm
Yeah.
just looking at, what I'm talking about bringing people in, is they're getting sick. This has been going on for 14 years. Now, I don't know that's what's been causing the decline at year after year after year.
The economy.
That could be part of it too, but it's just a constant, I mean, it's declined over the years, and it's the same old thing. There's nothing new. Those hard rock bands,
Bring in the country and western
yeah,
back, guys.
yeah, I'm serious.
Let's jam
I was
out.
just gonna say that. Why do we have to have that for both nights? Bring a country and western band.
I
And
think
just-
you're right.
You know what? You might get all the locals up there, you know, attending, but having that kind of music, and I like that kind of music. Don't get me wrong. But for 2 nights, how many people were at the tent?
I was
That
there
many.
Friday night, there was maybe 40.
Yeah, if
I
that.
mean, didn't you say there were, what was it, $12,000 you took at the gate?
Correct. On Saturday.
That was on Saturday.
And how much did we pay for the band?
5,000.
How about the tent?
The tent itself,
I
the
thought we
rental for the
paid
whole weekend, that was
Saturday?
10,000.
Yeah, and the fence, which keeps the public out, by the way.
That hurts you guys.
It does.
That hurts you
know,
guys.
you see family after family after family go by, pushing strollers, taking kids with them, wanting to do something, and they can't get in there. They can't get in the tent. And, you know, with the amount of people that are going in there to drink beer, you could have the beer tent in this room. I mean, that's how many people were there.
So that was on Friday night.
Who performed, when did the KISS band perform?
Friday night.
And then Metallica? They were on Saturday.
Right.
So you tell me this, Friday night, you had that KISS band perform and they charged us, how much?
5,000.
How much?
5,000.
5,000, you got
5,000.
10,000 in here.
That's the sound. I mean,
That's the sound system, okay, I'm
system.
sorry. Let me see if, I need glasses.
These are the kind of numbers that just are overwhelming the
And where I'm
byproduct.
getting with this is the numbers, okay? I think it would be a great thing to bring in another band just to kind of tone it down a little bit, that kind of thing. I think it would help your numbers out, plus close off the area. They know they can't get in there. Why not make it a family night that everybody can go in and enjoy it? I know the liquor has a lot to do with that, but do we have to sell it?
Michael, one thing that we have been discussing with Main Street, and I don't know if they've taken it to the Knights of Columbus yet, is using the Knights of Columbus liquor license. And taking it all nonprofit, and that way, all the profits that are made go to the Knights of Columbus and to Main Street, and it's not going to a bar down the street, okay? Everybody knows that the Knights of Columbus does good things with the money.
Yes.
Everybody knows Main Street's doing good things with the money. And we've discussed, even if we just sell beer and wine in that tent, we don't need to sell liquor and all that other stuff. What we need to do is
We
make
don't
it
sell-
as
we don't-
friendly,
It's just beer.
as friendly as we can. And I think bringing the Knights in would subject it to that.
And I'm not against you guys, don't get me wrong, okay? I'm just stating
We can't
what...
tell.
And what I'm saying, I'm speaking on behalf of the public.
Right.
I had a lot of the public come forward to me and give me their concerns.
Okay, let me address that for a little bit, Michael. The bike rally started 14 years ago, okay? It was brought up to bring fresh money, fresh tax money into our community. It was never meant to make a profit, gentlemen. You know, just going back, it was supposed to bring fresh money in, and that's supposed to be a profit. So, that's how it started, and I think Donald was on there way back when, I don't know if he can comment on that, but that's why Fire and Ice was started. We weren't here at that point. But yes, the numbers have been declining, the economy has a lot to do with it. The different bands that we get, I understand all that, but anywhere you see it, we have money, fresh tax money coming into it. The restaurants, the motels, the gas, the grocery stores. I talked to the people at Walmart, they had about a 20% increase on their sales that day, which was great. Smith did the same thing. Red Lions did the same thing. Now, I didn't go to the gas stations to find out because it only takes $5 or $6 to fill up a tank for gas for a motorcycle. It doesn't take that much. But I did talk to them. They all make money. The main problem, the thing that we wanted to do is bring money into our community, fresh tax money. And we accomplished that. Whether it was small or really big, we accomplished bringing new, fresh money into our
And I think you hit that right at the point I'm trying to get across, is we're not here to make money, but we're here to bring in something new to our community.
Right.
Just so it doesn't get so stagnant.
Right, exactly.
Okay? That's all I'm asking for.
Or you know what, and I don't know, Councilman Lewis, want to elaborate on anything we've talked about? But what you're bringing up, we're working on. Every bit of it.
No, and I'll make a comment on that fresh tax money stuff. I've had Tammy hold these for me a couple times now. July is our lowest tax month.
Is it?
Yes. With the 4th of July, the bike rally, all of that stuff, it is our lowest gross receipts tax month of the year. One of our best, believe it or not, guys, is February. And February should be one of our lowest because it's right after Christmas and New Year's, but it's because of the quad. And all it is the difference in events and the type of people that we're bringing in here. And I'll be totally honest with you guys. As the mayor of this community, I would have no problem with that bike rally dying. Okay? And that's to your board. I mean, it's up to you guys, what you guys continue to do, and whether they support you or not. I'm gonna support Main Street with whatever they wanna do. But like I said, and I'm making no bones about this, guys, it would not break my heart to see that bike rally die. Just, I mean, it's just, it brings in a quality of people that we don't like to see.
Mr. Mayor?
I mean, that's where I'm at, guys.
Mr. Mayor, and your group, we really appreciate it. This is one of the first times that you guys have ever made a profit. And we're not against you and what you've done, because it's impressive, but you spend more money on advertising, fewer people came. The problem I have with these numbers is $10,000 for a tent over to Albuquerque. $10,000, $5,000 for a fence over to Albuquerque. You know, $5,000 to whatever else, you know, all this money that's going out of our town and to other people. The vendors come in, they don't pay any taxes. It's all cash, and they're you know, I'm not going to accuse them of doing something, but we don't get any taxes from that money. It goes in their pocket and they leave. And our community members come in, they spend that money, and it, you know, when I see this thing that you guys are doing on Saturday nights right now, the money that we spend, only $1,000 a week, the radio station gets some of that money, the television gets some of that money, Donald gets some of that money. The guys who come in here and play, when they come in, they spend money on food and gas. And when we spend money like that, we're not buying a thing like a fence or a tent. We're distributing the tax money that comes into our community from us. We're distributing it back to them, to Donald and to our radio station and those people. That's the kind of money I like to see spent when we spend these kind of big dollars.
I have to agree with you 100%.
In that, you know, and then so everybody gets disgusted, you know, they just go ahead and, I'm out of here, I'm not coming back. You know, that's disappointing to hear. I mean, you know, I don't know, now I see what the breakdown is on your spaces, but I even think, to be honest with you, some of these are a little high.
And they include the tents and stuff too, I mean, that's all factored in too. So, but I heard the same thing, the rumors on the spaces.
Yeah.
I had people telling, oh yeah, they didn't come because the spaces were $1,400 for that. I said, no, that's wrong. Here's what they start at, you know, based on it. But yeah, I hear the same rumors.
We've all heard it. We've all heard the same thing.
But people hear them and they believe them, and that hurts too.
Well, and I think that's what's good, is that we bring this out to the public. That way they know what's going on. And, you know, they'll stop the rumor.
Right.
You know, that way they know, okay, we need to go another route with this. Maybe we need to do something different. Just bring in something positive for the community.
And I get what you're saying too on that. But just like the alcohol and everything else, we go to these meetings. I'm the same thing. I think Main Street needs to stay family oriented and stuff. But then you get to these guys with when you're doing the bike rally, they say, well, you know, beer's part of the bike rally, and these events are part of the bike rally and stuff. So you got to decide, you know, because you get the bikers say, we want this.
Friday night, to be honest with you, how many bikers do you think you can attract? Probably not that many. Mostly everybody comes in on Saturday and stays Saturday. That's when you turn it into the bike rally.
These are good ideas, yeah. Like I said,
you know, Friday night, family, country western band, that kind of thing.
Free.
Sunday, free. Sunday, just like what you did, awesome. You know,
Don't rent a fence, you know, set up a fence that's the size of this building over there, you know, across, at the chambers, I mean, and have a beer tent, if they want a beer tent, but make it small. I was there Friday night, there were 40 people in there. And, you know, you pay $10,000 for that tent, and the fence is another $5,000 or whatever. You know, the positive thing about this is you guys have proven that that we can operate a large event. And so let's take that expertise that you guys have brought to the table, and just for the next couple, 3-4 months, let's have some meetings, let's decide, you know, what are we going to do next year. But, you know, you're losing support quick on the bike route, and not because of what you've done. It's just like Michael said, there's nothing new there. It's all that, the whole thing. Even the vendors say that. And even the vendors are doing that. They're leaving too. So, you know, the more people leave, the faster it's going to go down the path. Let's just write it off as a learning experience.
But we all have to agree Actually, if you really look at it, we're getting what we're asking for. I mean, it's a bike rally after all. It's tied to acid rock music, it's tied to drinking, partying. We're asking for all these cops to come over here.
It's a law enforcement rally is what it
Because we're
is.
having what we're having. We're having the event that
I
we're
don't
asking
agree with
for all
that
this.
law enforcement comment.
That's what it calls for.
You know,
I don't agree with it because the first step in use of force to prevent any type of violence
Officer's
is
presence.
Yeah,
And
that's what we're asking
that's
for.
fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Rally, that's what you're asking for.
but let me comment on that real quick.
Asking for the acid rock music.
The bike rally that happens in Red River, New Mexico, the law enforcement numbers are 0.
It's because you're scared.
And you should see, they have no problems. And I know this firsthand from people that have attended. And I'm not saying law enforcement presence is not good. I'm big on that. But when it comes to the bike rally here in Grants, I bumped into, I don't know how many officers just walking around the path. It was intimidating. And it's, to me, to be honest with you, I think that scares people away. Nobody wants to come. I've heard that comment several times. Nobody wants to be here because of the presence of the cops. Not that nothing, they can't enjoy themselves peacefully because they're kind of looking over their backs. Now, we know kind of what happened again. There we go, writing tickets for this, for that, petty little things. I think the presence is great, don't get me wrong, but our numbers are too high.
They actually cut back this year.
I know you did.
They did, and
Still
just
too
because
high.
of the attendance, I made it seem like there was more officers out
It
there.
was still too high. There was too many
And
cops.
going back to the vendors, we had a deadline. So a week and a half before the actual event started, we had to decline 20 vendors that wanted to come in and pay for a 10 by 40 or bigger, which would have brought more revenue into our event. But because we all agreed that we were going to set a deadline, we had to turn them away.
You guys should have brought them in.
And we couldn't,
We couldn't,
once we said it.
yeah.
And that was something they hadn't done.
Really? That gets me
Eric
right
Yelder's
there.
there.
I know.
We're gonna work on it.
Okay, and I
We're
just,
gonna work on it.
anytime that you can bring positive things into our town, do it. Even if you're gonna set a deadline, if you can still fit it in, why not?
And don't set a deadline on yourselves, it's gonna hurt you guys.
Well, it was suggested by the city.
Don't do
Paul,
that.
and,
I didn't.
We went with the New Mexico Environmental Department to try and get everything into the city so that they could get all their fees and permits out to them on time. So, the board, we had no choice but to go with it.
That's
So
good
we all
feedback.
agreed,
We might readjust that for you.
we'll
Yeah.
let
What was your deadline? Was it like 2 weeks,
It
2 weeks
was
before?
July 3rd, the weekend
So 2 weeks
before.
before you,
4th of July.
and I can understand that because the paperwork takes some time to process, that kind of thing. And you know what, to be honest with you, people, and, yeah, for the food, but people are procrastinators.
Yeah.
That's
They wait till the last
And
minute.
these vendors were used to that. They were used to coming in on the day of the event and paying their money and getting a spot. And,
That's with
we couldn't-
anything.
We couldn't do it this year.
Well, the thing of it is, these guys go to other bike rallies, other events, so they don't know when they're gonna get here, or when they're gonna, if they're even gonna make it. So they're not gonna send you any money, knowing that if their truck breaks down, they've already lost that money because it's non-refundable. So that's why they were coming in at the last minute. They're coming from other events to this event. And if we do set a date for next year, which I hope we don't, we should allow them in the day they come in.
And we
And
had
I like the fact, maybe with this whole process of the permit process, simplifying it
Yes, sir.
will help this whole situation right here.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a long time to get that process taken care of that way. It's a simple thing, day of. They show up the day before, they're here, we can bring them in, we don't turn them away.
Right, I agree with you.
And I do like the numbers, don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
You know what, with what you had, now I'm glad that you guys are open for suggestions because these are the things that we saw that were brought to my attention. Answering people's questions when I don't even have an answer for them. But I think you guys did a good job on that part. We're in the black, that's great. And just something to think about for the future. And I would like to attend your next meeting when you do start bringing up the bike rally.
We will.
We'll make sure we.
The other thing is, I got a lot of calls on Thursday night, and I was in Albuquerque. As a matter, we have too many cops here, what are you gonna do about it? I said, there ain't nothing I can do about that. They're here, There's not much I can do, that's up to the law enforcement. All we can do is run what we're gonna be running. We're not in charge of the cops.
I would say, Manny, that the reason we never have had an event, here, I mean, an incident here, is because of our presence of our policemen. And when we start uninviting police, the law enforcement here, I'm out of this one. You know, I mean, if we're not going to have law enforcement here, then I'm going to vote against the rally. I can tell you that right now.
You know what, that's great, because we need to address that problem one way or another.
Yeah.
But it's the type of.
So you got a lot of issues going here, man.
Yeah, we do.
Well, you gotta have police there, I understand that, but see, we're getting the same thing. You got one half saying there's too many cops, the other half saying we gotta have the cops, so it's a fine line.
Well, you guys understand what I'm saying. There's a presence that we have to have, okay? I'm not saying to get rid of them. I'm not bringing up Red River. That's not where I want to go, because I want to protect our town.
I'd like to see maybe more plainclothes cops, you know, where they're there if we need them.
Exactly.
But they're blending in with the crowd and they're not sticking out.
Can we do that, John?
We did that. We did a few, but we can definitely
Increase
do
it?
a lot more. We can have more.
I think a lot more.
I just want everybody also to understand that this is a state highway and state police.
State police.
Yeah.
If you don't invite them, they don't come, John.
Yeah, well, we didn't invite them, but do me a
Yes, you
favor. Well, they might have invited them, but the way, what I'm getting at is look at our statistics, because I think we only wrote 6 citations that whole weekend. Grants Police, I'm talking about Grants.
Yeah, I was going to say, just Grants Police,
Just
right?
Grants
When
Police.
state police made their quota for the year, okay?
There you go.
State police made their quota for the
But
year.
yes, we can definitely do that, and he's the one that put it together, so.
On that note, I learned something this year that I didn't know before. The state police had to come in, of course, because.
Okay, check it out. What they're telling you is that they have to justify their grant money, and that's why they're writing tickets.
No grant money, they're
Okay.
overtime.
Okay, but that's why they're writing all these tickets, is to justify their pay coming here for this rally.
They're
Okay?
yes.
Well, here's my justification for it. Nobody got killed, there was no shootouts, there's nothing. They don't need to come here and write tickets for tint, and for a cracked windshield, and for any of that crap that they wrote tickets for, guys.
Yes, and
And they
they're all
stood there and
back.
they yanked out every third car on that road. Every third car, get out. Every third car, get out. And they're writing them tickets. I've got a problem with that, guys. If you want to hassle somebody, hassle the meth heads. They're all over.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Yes, James.
Who do you associate methamphetamine with?
I name it. Well, it's the bikers, it's the drug cartels, it's all of it. And I agree. Like I said, it could die. It's not going to break my heart at all. Okay?
I think we need to be careful with that, though, because not all bikers are.
No.
And that's a
are
fact.
like
I
that,
work in
okay?
community corrections and I saw a lot of families.
Sure, and I know a lot of bikers that aren't like that,
Yeah.
okay? So, we gotta be careful when we do say
Well,
that.
that's
If
the
I
ones that
if I can finish real quick, state police, when they come in, they bring resources. We don't have the money, we don't have the manpower to take care of fatal accidents, the accidents that are occurring. We did have a major accident going out towards San Mateo where that bike was flown out. They have the money, the resources, the manpower to take care of that we didn't. That's why they were invited, as well as to enforce the law on that state road.
I see them stop 5 people from going from Grants to,
You know, there was state police officers that I've never seen before.
Well, check this out.
I mean,
guys.
and I
I'm gonna
know
tell you
officers,
something right
all
here.
of them from Yellow.
I was at work
Yes.
Saturday afternoon, and I got a state cop that drives out there to my job site because there's too many cops in town, and this is the words right out of his mouth. There's so many cops in town, I don't need to be there. And I said, so what are you doing out here? He says, well, I came out here to look at where I used to work at. And I introduced myself as the mayor of Grants. He left like his butt was on fire and his head was catching. Okay, because he was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have came out here. This is the mayor of Grants that's complaining about too many cops.
Right.
Okay? So I don't know, guys. Yeah. I'm gonna support you on what you wanna do, and that's that.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate
Thank you,
that.
we appreciate it. We
think
are
about music though.
Yeah, definitely think about the music.
Laura, you have any comments about it?
Anything else, Ruben?
No,
Laura?
I think it is something we want to review and see how we can make it better, whether it's expanding on it, including more family things that will draw the families out. So I think it's definitely worth looking at. And I think Mike's right that we've learned a lot about you know, conducting a large-scale event. And so we need those events in our community. We just need to look at how we can better support them and make them successful.
Thank you.
One last thing, Manuel, you said you had an issue with the city employees as opposed to the volunteers. What happened?
Well, we had no city volunteers to pick up trash or set up trash cans this year. None of them showed up. We couldn't find the trash cans.
So what was the reason for that?
Well, I have no idea what.
They were busy on the day off.
There was never city volunteers, they were always paid.
Well, they were paid, they were
They were
paid.
always
Yeah,
paid.
they were always paying, that's the $20,000 they saved us this year by not using it.
They,
But my question is, what happened to trash cans?
they
Because
had-
we always have trash cans all over that place.
I talked to Eric and Harrison and asked them about that, and what they told me was that during the year, different people in the city take them and stuff like that, so by the end of the year, they don't have them, they gotta buy them every year.
Oh, my God. Okay, thank you guys
Thank you,
very
guys.
much.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate
Marty,
it.
you're up.
I really do.
Group 4 abatements.
Council, Mayor, City Manager. What we've got is we've got a revision to our Group 4 abatement list. The way this started out, give you a little history of it real quick, is the Group 4 abatement came in originally with 8 different locations. We made a short list of that, which turned into 3 locations, actually 3 locations, one of which was the original of the Group 8. 2 of the additional that we added to that short list have since initiated their own abatement process, which we'll address here in a minute. So we've got an opening on our Group 3 for some additional properties. So what we've got first is we've got, what we need to do, first we need to get them approved as part of our Group 4. And secondly, we need to do the resolution per address. So the first will be done in a group, which would be the addition to Group 4, which would be
824 Frost, 824 Melvin, 317 on San Jose, and 305 Gold.
Yes, sir.
Those are the 4 that we're adding.
We're also adding 1022 Santa Fe.
Which one is that?
That's Santa Fe, it's the old railroad building on the, I'm sorry, that's what we took off, you're right, I'm sorry, I mistook that for San Jose.
Okay, right?
1022 is the one that they knocked down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're in the process
1022 is the one over here that me and Paul see.
Right.
They
did their own.
Yeah, so that was 75% corrected. The one on Black Mesa Drive, they're trying to appeal it, and that appeal is dead.
Okay. Well, that's also here, we'll address that here in a minute.
Yes, there will be a appeal plan. Yes.
Yes.
I thought we dealt with 316 West Stevens in our last meeting.
We did.
Yeah, it's just
still part of
on
the
the
list.
statement list, it's just part of that. That one there will be the first one done in October. These are gonna be down.
Yes, sir.
By October.
That's where we're starting?
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay, so, okay.
Whoever we're contracting with, I don't know how these contracts read, but the building that's being torn down, that they started tearing down across from Latham on Santa Fe Avenue, that's still a pile of trash there.
That's not a contractor, that's the private owner.
Yes.
Well, then we need to get that person to clean that up, because that's dangerous over
I
there.
agree. We've given him 45 days to complete that process. The reason he didn't end up on our list is because he initiated the abatement process before he got notified of the violation, so he kind of beat us to the punch. So I've spoken with him, he's got 45 days to complete what he started on.
Well, why 45 days? Why not 10?
Well, part of the reason is because he's sort of doing it out of pocket, and he doesn't really have the means to just go over the full-blown construction crew. He's doing it with another local contractor here, that whenever he loosens up his 2 pieces of equipment, he goes there and he removes what he can. It's just a cost issue.
When did the 45 days start?
It's been about 5 days since we last spoke with him. So I believe it was Friday of last week.
We started tearing it down
It was
3
the day
weeks
before
ago.
the bike rally, yeah. It was the day that, or the day before, the day after.
Well, that's when the 45 days should have started.
That pile of stuff that he has there, I've been keeping an eye on it, and it's getting smaller and smaller
Yeah.
every weekend, so
He's picking away.
he's working.
It's not as quick as we'd like to see, but it saved the city a substantial amount in the overall process. So we're giving him a little bit of time.
It was a pile, it is.
Yeah, it's being reduced. We're on top of it.
Okay.
Tell us about 416 Aspen. You told me that you had sent the paperwork
Okay.
to the wrong place with that one. It's not here, I know.
No, it's not. On Aspen, that's gonna be the first on our Group 5. We had obtained the owner of record information from the assessor's office, which is where we get all our owner of record information. their tax card was out of date, and so they even got delinquent taxes on the property, because everything that they send to them for tax bills comes back to them. So we have since finally ironed out who the owner of record is, and we've got that notice of violation back out. That'll be part of our group 5.
Okay, on that note, I'll entertain a motion for group 4 abatement revisions.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and let's approve Group 4 abatement revisions, including 824 Frost, 824 Melvin, 317 San Jose, 305 Gold, 1022 Santa Fe Avenue, 200 Black Mesa Drive, and 316 West Mesa Street.
Second.
Councilor Quintana?
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval?
Yes.
Councilor Dickens?
Yes.
Councilor Lewis?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Go right ahead.
And it's nothing really pertaining to this, Marty, but I noticed on Santa Fe Avenue, right in front of Compassion Mortuary, where the Roaring Twenties used to be, that whole lot surrounding by farmers and whatnot, the weeds are getting terrible.
Yes.
Can we get the property owner to go and clean up?
Yes, I can contact them, notice that what we're implementing is sort of, we're trying to heighten the awareness of the general public right now for the overall population of Grants. And the way we're doing that is we're sending out notices, or not a notice, but just information in their water bill, letting them know that there's violations that can occur, that the weed height is this, the ordinances states this, that, and the other thing. We're trying to heighten the awareness.
Sure, I agree with that, but right now, that's our main thorough street, okay? And that's right in the center of our businesses. Those weeds are probably about 4 foot tall right now.
Yes, they've got pretty good.
Okay,
I've,
and that's where the rains, but don't get me wrong, it's just that I'd like to see some action taken fairly soon,
Yes, sir.
because that whole lot is nothing but dirt right now.
Okay. I've since gotten the owner of the Desert Sun, the old hotel, to go ahead and clear cut their weeds, because they were 6 foot tall there as well. And so I'll go ahead and contact the owner of that parcel and get them to see if I can.
What's the status of the sign that was in front of, the Roaring Twenties sign?
It's still property of the owner of record. It wasn't part of our demolition.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah.
Are we gonna, is the plan to get it down eventually? We gonna leave it up?
We had approached him to see if he would be willing to donate it to the city, so we could use it as a billboard, or not a billboard, but just change it a little bit to keep the Route 66 corridor sort of filled out. He declined, and I haven't made contact with him since.
Yeah, he wants to sell it, and I've been talking with the county before on it, and we were talking about using that sign, rehabbing that sign and using it as an information board for county and city events and things. We thought it would make a good one for that. Right now, we're in between county managers, obviously, and Laura's just taken over as city manager.
How much did he want for it, Paul,
At
the time?
I had heard a number of $10,000.
Yeah, 10 to 12,000.
But I was gonna negotiate with him. I think we could have done better than that. I wanted to have a sign company take a look at it and give us an estimate on what it would cost to rehab it. And, so right now, it's kind of sitting there, but we have our eyes on it. So.
Well, one of our options is to condemn it too.
True. Very true.
I think that's a good idea for right now.
Now, on
Until
those,
he decides to do what he's
on
gonna
those
do.
group 4 abatements, we got 824 Melvin, it's actually 816 Melvin. Okay?
Yes,
The
sir.
resolution will be for 816 Melvin.
16.
So let's start with 824 Frost. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 1465.
Make a motion to go ahead and accept resolution 14-1465, 824 Frost.
Second.
Second.
Councilor Quintana?
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval? Councilor Dickens?
Yes.
Councilor Lewis?
Yes.
Second one, 1466 for 816 Melvin. Hold on, yes, ma'am.
824 is the correct address. 816 was a mistake because of wrong address.
So you're saying page 39?
We got 816 on the resolutions. And 824 on the front page.
That's
Is
my
it?
house.
Hey, now start that.
It's a typo on the agenda.
So it is 816, right? Okay. Bulldozers out Okay, so we'll need resolution 1466, 816, Melvin.
Motion to go ahead and accept resolution 14-1466, 816 Melvin.
Second,
Second.
Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval? Counselor Dickens? Counselor Lewis?
Yes.
The next one is 1467, 317 San Jose Drive. That's all the old railroad buildings that are back there, right where you go underneath for the football fields, okay?
Promotion for 14, 14, 67, San Jose Drive.
Second,
Second.
Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval? Counselor Dickens?
Yes.
Counselor Lewis?
Yes.
Next one, 305 Gold, 1468.
I make a motion to go 1468 for a goal.
Second,
Second.
Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval?
Yes.
Counselor Dickens?
Yes.
Counselor
Yes.
Lewis? This one here, abatement appeal. I've discussed this with Marty, there is no appeal because it ain't even close to being done. They've got an old school bus up there. They got a pile of crap up there. There's a mass trailer they tore apart, so this appeal is dead.
I got a bunch of photos here if you'd like to see them.
45 days, right, Marty?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Around
45 days.
45 days, and that's passed.
Yeah, that's passed.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, what we're here for is to deny the abatement appeal for 200 Black Mesa Drive. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we deny the appeal. for
Second.
Second.
Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval? Counselor Dickens?
Yes.
Counselor Lewis?
Because the time has elapsed, yes.
Make my day. Replat vacant easement, Marty? What's that?
Okay, this is requested by Wade Sabro. What he's doing is he owns all the parcels represented on this plat. The vacate portion will be of a Bradley Street that is completely undeveloped.
That's in back of his dealership there,
Yes, sir.
right below the VFW?
Exactly. He owns all the impacted properties or impacted parcels. So what this plat represents is two things. It represents the vacate as well as the replat. It's dividing all the parcels into one, which will be lot 2, and it's dividing these parcels into lot 1. This means lot 2 and lot 1, yes. His intentions are, he's got a future business looking at this location here, and he intends to sell this. So it's for
That's
development.
where we're all putting up political signs and stuff right there across from First Street Cafe.
So,
Okay.
He owns that.
Yeah.
he owns all of
Yeah, he owns all of them.
He owns First Street.
Yes, hold on. I don't know, does he?
So he's just asking.
Permission to divide them, that's all.
So you need subdivide or make them all one?
He's gonna vacate this section of First Street. He's
Yeah.
gonna vacate, or abandon these parcels and these parcels, and divide them into lot 1 and lot 2. So there'll be no.
Put a fence around that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We need to keep them out of there. Okay, because I'd hate to see a kid drown and us have a liability on the city for that reason. So there's an attraction there.
Is that gonna be a permanent fence? Because I mean, we're talking
No, no.
about beautifying the city, and we're gonna put up a chain link fence right.
No, this is until that project goes through on Second Street. Once we tie in that project on Second Street, the drainage should work through there. We will not have that funding issue. Is what I understand. So, for now, for temporary reasons, we need to go ahead and for safety of our children, we need to go ahead and close that off.
Just show you where he's cut the wall out of his business once a year for the last year.
And that's all I've got.
Counselor Sandoval?
I've got one thing for Marty. Marty, where are you with, Encino, with notifying the people if we can put a trash can there?
We are making arrangements to have a dumpster placed in there on the 1st, and we'll run throughout the weekend, keep it placed throughout the weekend, giving them 7 full days to go ahead and the people within that area. We're making some door hangers, and we can put on the doorknobs for that neighborhood specifically of the days we're gonna be placing out there, as well as knocking on doors of that exact block, so we don't have people from throughout the entire city utilizing that. Which
So everybody gave you their okay, so they know they can do it then?
The property owner, yes, he was thinking so. And release liability on it as well.
Counselor Dickens?
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Duran for fixing those 3 leaks. I don't see the water no more, which is good. Saw a lot of water going down the street for a while. What's the possibility on the hole that Michael's talking about? Because I see it every day. I walk my dog over there every day to the baseball fields, and that hole behind the women's softball's been there since we've had a women's softball field. What's the possibility of leveling that whole area off with millings from somewhere and eliminating the pond totally?
I could go with manual when he gets the millings and